Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to talk about something that a lot of our community friends are very excited about, and that's the new release of the new version of Create. Woo! So joining us today is me. I'm Wendy, and my co-host Edmar.
Hey,
And
buddy.
Edmar, do you have any announcements or anything you want to say before we get going?
Well, just really quick, we have Jay Selena coming on next week. So if you're an amateur filmmaker or professional filmmaker and you're using great tools like Unreal Engine, and you want to check out Omniverse and how Jay's using partner tools from Real Illusion, like iClone, to use motion capture and to render really nice animations in Omniverse. Next week will be a great live stream. He's going to show everything from start to finish. So that's going to be next week. I think we're starting that one a little bit later at 4 p.m. Pacific, I believe. So that's we have news about that in our Discord a little bit later today, but that's next week. Today Dane, we've had so many people talk about Create. This update has been a pretty big one, and then just this morning you pushed a nice update to the update, which I think is focused on performance and bugs and optimizations. But so Wendy and I have both been getting a lot of great excitement in the community, both on the forums and on Discord. So super excited for today's stream. So thank you for coming on and chatting with the fans.
Yeah, we're really excited about this particular release of Create. It was very feature rich. We added a lot of brand new technology and features to kind of, based on all the feedback we've gotten from our customers, to really expand what Create can do. We just pushed out a release 2022.1.2, which was focused heavily on kind of improving upon that foundation that we built with the 2022.1 release. We really increased load times and fixed, I think, over 300 issues that have been reported both internally and externally.
Nice.
300.
Yeah. We don't sleep around here.
Yeah.
It's just not a thing that happens. I'm pretty sure I just have my family just bring me food and I work on
Well, let me ask you something. So to take a step back a second, for anyone who's new to the channel or to Omniverse, Omniverse is NVIDIA's real-time simulation platform for collaboration, which lets people leverage all the different tools that they know and love already, and be able to maximize those tools by using the power of Omniverse, which lets you utilize multiple GPUs, for example, or collaborate with other people. So our live streams are meant to kind of educate people on all the cool stuff you can do with Omniverse and these other tools. So our goal is not really to make these apps, right? Create is kind of maybe an exception because it's a great renderer. But how would you define Create to everybody who might not be familiar with it?
Well, Create has a few different really important uses. First off, it's a fantastic tool to kind of view USD content. But this is really a tool to help you build your stages, your worlds, your sets for simulation, for instance, right? Like we do a lot of with AIAC Sim, for instance, we do a lot of robotics training, and various things like that. And Create is where you can build, right? So that's what we call Create, right? This is where you build your sets, your worlds, aggregate USD content into a cohesive stage. And that's one of the primary use cases. There's a ton of uses that we've seen out of people using Create, but what I'm going to do today would be go through in a very high level sense. Obviously, we do deeper tutorials and deeper live streams, but I kind of wanted to show everybody all those new features and all those new abilities that are in Create to help you do exactly that, right? To build out these worlds. If you want to have characters walk from one stage to another and see how something reacts in between, like that's how you would set it up here. You would set it
Awesome.
up.
Great, that sounds great. And I'll tell you, our first Omniverse community ambassador, Pekka Varis, has already jumped right in, and he's already been posting videos of how great the performance is with Create, relating to the latest update you guys pushed today. So congratulations, it looks like a big success. And I know Wendy hears this a lot too. So I'll just share that we hear from a lot of artists, the biggest value for them in Create is the ability to iterate really quickly. So can you tell us a little bit about why they say that?
Well, it's right here in my screen. You know, we have a real-time RTX renderer, right? Both we have multiple modes. So we have real-time, we have a more accurate path tracer, and then we have a ground truth rendering in iRay. The fact that this is running a fully path trace scene in real time, and I'm able to instantly see my result, is something that just hasn't really been available. This is really where the magic happens. We have a fully integrated matte shadow rendering for an HDRI, and just look at that speed. It's a second to get to 64 samples. There's a lot of magic in that RTX renderer that comes full stack, right? It's the whole NVIDIA team working together from hardware, software, and the rendering team to make something like this happen.
Awesome. I know. So we already have a couple of comments coming in even before you get started. So I don't know if you have the ability to show this today. I know you got something else planned first, but people. So GTC, one of the most popular things that was shown off was the Ramen Shop.
Ramen Shop. Oh my god.
And I know that I know there's a lot of excitement about and just surprise about what was shown off there. Do you want to talk a little bit about why people were so excited about that, what it showed off, and someone is asking, Twin Snakes 007 is asking for a breakdown on what it is, especially the eggs and noodles.
Oh man, I know. The art team behind the Ramen Shop just did an absolutely fantastic team. They're also the team that's been behind some of our other assets like Marbles and Marbles at Night. I personally think, Edmar, you guys should do a live stream about the Ramen Shop.
Oh yes.
I think that would be absolutely fantastic, because anything I say right now is not going to do justice to the extreme amount of work they've put into that. And it was a global team too. One of the great artists is in Odessa right now. It's like it's been a global team that put that together, kind of showing that power of Omniverse. When it comes to such a high-end piece of art like that, you have to pull out all the stops, right? You have maximum texture quality, maximum texture resolution. In this release, actually specifically based on some of the work that happened in Ramen Shop, we've heavily improved our ability to stream textures. So that was one of the big features under render settings common. We now have the ability to adjust your max texture resolution, when the streaming is happening, what's your kind of memory budget versus your GPU memory. So we've added a ton of texture streaming properties and options. And again, it kind of comes down to, if you have such a fast render, you can iterate, right? And that's what they did. They iterated. Again, I think it's a great idea for us to show off how that was made.
Okay, so we'll do that from Dane's mouth to our schedule.
I will try to see if I can load that up at some point during the stream today. Maybe if I get a break, but otherwise, I think we were equally internally blown away by the art quality that came out of the Ramen Shop.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's awesome.
I mean the food looked like you could eat it. So
Yeah. I agree, and we've been kind of, as you can see, we've been improving our materials,
Yes.
And photorealism of our materials as we've gone along. OmniSurface is a big component to it's just kind of one of our base materials that you'll see here. All those allow you to do some of those really important things like subsurface scattering and transmission and everything to really get that realistic look.
And if anyone watching or listening has not installed Omniverse Create, it's super, super simple. Just go to the website, omniverse.nvidia.com. You can register for a free account, download the launcher. Omniverse is free for all individuals, so there's no cost whatsoever. And then once you install the launcher, you can access Create as well as other apps and extensions right through the launcher itself. There's no website to go to. Everything's available through a menu item at the top called Extensions. And Dane, for people to take advantage of the latest update, they don't need to do anything, right? You basically just got to click on the notification to update.
Yeah, click the bell.
Yeah, click the bell. So whenever there's a new version, there'll be a little bell in the launcher when you go to the extension. So, okay, cool. So that's how you get it. So if you don't have it yet, I highly recommend. What GPU do you recommend for Create for a good experience?
So an RTX GPU is required. So that's kind of first and foremost. Make sure you have an RTX GPU because I just told you about all of our RTX rendering and everything. So one of the big benefits of the latest release is since we have added texture streaming and enabled it by default, we've kind of alleviated some of the heavier demands that used to be on your VRAM, right? Your GPU memory. I use typically, because I have a really nice boss, I have an A6000, so that's what I like to use. But my other laptop I got sitting right here is a 3070, and I've been able to do quite a bit of work on that. That feels like a good place to be. Okay,
cool. And you can use a lower RTX card, but your performance will be a little more limited, right?
Yeah.
But the screen will probably have to be smaller.
I've got a 3070 studio laptop, and I'm able to rock and roll.
Cool. All right, great. All right, so let's dive into 22.1.
Yeah, sure. So let's go ahead and we'll switch to the screen, and I'll just kind of walk you guys through it, and we can ask questions as it goes along. I'm gonna, from a top level, just talk about all the new features, and then we'll go in individually into some of those as we go along. If you go to the forums and go to the Create 2022.1.0, man, that's a mouthful. Say that 5 times fast. We actually have a nice breakdown of all the different features. We can now render out AOVs in the movie capture. We've added USD curves support, so this is NURBS curves, so you can start to
cool.
Pull those in from Maya and Blender and all those other tools. We've added. I'm actually pretty excited about some of these new asset stores we've added, which gives you some access to Sketchfab, TurboSquid, Reallusion's Actor Core, and we'll be expanding that in the future. And this whole tool right here is just about, hey, I've got these partners, and I want quick access to that content in Omniverse. So we kind of gave you a pathway there.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of great feedback on that, actually. Just the ease of being able to find stuff. Oh, that was a mic drop from Dane. He'll be back in a minute.
Oops.
Hey.
You're back. You're back.
Discord crashed. Create did not. Just like
it happens once in a blue moon.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Well, you get your setups working again. Yeah, we've had a lot of great feedback on how easy it is to find assets. And there are some free assets available, obviously, right? So you can you don't have to buy anything to use some of the stuff there.
Yeah, I might as well just let's see. Is my stream back up?
Yeah.
There we go. Let me just go and show you that real quick. So this all right, let me pull something here. So I already have one downloaded, so I won't use that. We'll actually start a new stage. Let's do something fun here. But for instance, with this Sketchfab access, I can just double click it. I put in my Sketchfab account, and it'll download it. This one here has already been downloaded, so let's go ahead and put a mesh plane on the ground, and I can actually just drag it into the viewport straight from my download from Sketchfab, and it's there. And while I'm at it, I'll just show a couple other features that are new. We've changed the Sky browser to now be an environment browser, and why we say that is we have some of these templates to give you kind of like easy, quick, beautiful rendering. So let me go ahead and hide that plane I put, and now using a feature called matte shadows, matte rendering. I'm able to, in this HDRI, just go ahead and kind of like get it grounded very quickly. Now this particular asset, it already actually had like fake shadows built in, so I have to close those. But yeah, I'm able to kind of really easily just grab this thing from Sketchfab, and now I have, you know, this beautiful car rendering. Like that's how quick it can be when we have all this stuff integrated together. And if I wanted to, I could, you know, grab a new paint, like Omniverse carpet paint, and now I have a. I don't know if I personally would go this blue on my car, but I'm sure I'd get a couple looks. And this is kind of what we were talking about before, right? Look at how quick you can have this visualization. Everything, like I said, this is just an asset from Sketchfab, yet I'm able to have reflections at this quality, and that's all just, you know, that's all just out of the box.
Wow.
And not only do we have, you know, kind of the access to these assets from, and you know, what am I doing here? I gotta fill my viewport. You guys want to see more pretties than I'm showing. Not only do we have the ability to kind of pull in these assets from Sketchfab and TurboSquid, you can search here as well, but we've also now moved, we provide a bunch of assets directly from NVIDIA, and these are useful for your projects. We've kind of focused initially on some things for kind of architecture and architectural visualization. We have a large residential pack, but we also have an industrial pack, so I guess if I want to tell you not to get anywhere near my Porsche, stay away, everybody. I can easily do that, right? So you know, we've kind of seeded you, right? We're trying to seed our users to be able
have
to
fun
build
right away
as quickly as they can, right? Because we all know content is always an important thing. So there you go. Stay away. So that's the asset store. That's the NVIDIA assets group.
Speaking of which, really quick, we plan to having TurboSquid on very soon. So actually, we're planning that date right now, but we expect to have a live stream with TurboSquid folks. We'll talk about everything they've been working on. They've been a fantastic partner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I definitely can't wait. I'll definitely be watching that one. I'm gonna make my car a little more grounded. So that's kind of like the stuff that you'll see right off the bat, right? This is the first time I open up Create. What in the heck am I looking at? And you know, we've got these assets for you. We've got the asset store for you. We've got the environment browser. So I should be able to, boom, straight have my car rendering and be ready to roll. But sometimes in the past, discovering some of the other workflows has been a little bit more challenging, and we're trying to improve that through predefined layouts. So if you go up in the upper corner here, you'll see we've got, currently we've got 6 called out, and we also have the ability to save and load your custom layouts. We've gotten a lot of feedback that, hey, I want a quick load for my layouts, so we're working on that. But what I can do now is I'm going to do it with my hotkeys. But I can hit Control-2, for instance, and I'm straight into my animation layout. And we have some new tools here. We have Curve Editor and Timeline, so we've kind of given everybody the ability to have a little bit more direct control over animations. So let me just, we'll make the ball bounce over the car. That sounds like a useful thing to do. And we have 2 different ways to key. So we have the timeline below, which is kind of like a direct way to key. And then we also have Curve Editor, which, if you're familiar with animation, is going to be very familiar to any sort of animation curve editor you've ran into in the past. I can either use this key down here, which now you'll see has generated a whole bunch of properties here. So my translation XYZ, my rotation XYZ, scale, and visibility. And you can also see these are now sitting here on the curve editor. And it's as easy as, you know, hey, let me have it go over, add another key. And we'll go down here and add another. Actually, I'm going to add a little bit more time since I decided to start randomly in the middle of my thing. And we'll add another. And now we should see, you know, I can animate my ball jumping over my car. And you can isolate each individual curve. I can you know, zoom to fit. I can animate these 3 at the same time, and you can actually see my curves are showing up here now, and I can adjust these see my kind of live update. Again, I can't stress enough how awesome it is now where we are with rendering, because I can just see this ball perfectly rendered in my reflections and everything. I've been waiting for this for like 20 years. This
Right.
is the future, right? So this is like our animation layout. Like I said, 2 super cool new tools right here with the curve editor and the timeline editor. I can hit now for something completely different. I can hit Control 3, and what we're going to get into is anim graph. So I'm actually going to stop and I'm going to talk about this one for a little bit. So animation graph and action graph are 2 of the new graphs. This is a big feature that's been added to Create 2022.1 is our graphs. And they're all based on a technology called OmniGraph, and what they let you do is effectively visual scripting inside of Create. Animation graph is, as you can imagine, visual scripting that's more focused towards animation, and action graph and generic graph and push graph are, and they're all actually right. Where am I? They're all right here. There's kind of the different ones. Is more based on doing things. So action graph can be used for, let's say I can hit a button on my keyboard and make a door open, right? I can script all that together inside of action graph and make that happen. Or if I wanted to build something like a car configurator, right? So I hit a button and it changes the color of the car. I hit another button, it changes the wheels. Like these are things you can do with action graph. So let me open up one of these. So when I go to the animation graph example, I get some samples down here. I have my graphs right here. So I'm gonna open up a very simple animation graph sample, and I'm going to adjust my screen a little bit here so you guys can get a better view. And I'm gonna hit play. I'm just gonna show what it does first. So I have my character idling here, and I have a box, and I find this one to be a very effective kind of what is animation graph. I don't know if you can see this well on your screen, but his head is tracking.
That is super cool.
And I can even we didn't put any limits on this setup, so I can also break his neck.
Yep.
But if you wanted to put limits, it could easily expand the graph more. So let me show you what that looks like. So I can actually edit my animation graph and open it. This particular example is super simple. It's a simple look at IK. I have set up my target position, which in action graph points to this cube. I have a blend weight, which is a USD property here for how much I want to blend, where he's looking versus where he's not. And then I have my idle pose that I'm blending into. So I could change. Let's do that real quick. I have another animation. He's gonna be waving instead. Stop my simulation.
Apologize for that.
And I can drop my animation in here. Now he's a wave instead. This is all node based, so I can just, drag and drop, change the node. Now he's waving instead, right? So you can see that kind of changed automatically. If I go over to, I'm going to go ahead and add the action graph. Let's go to visual scripting and go to my action graph. We'll go ahead and look at the graph for this, and we'll see I can also adjust some of these floats. So this float is, which one am I looking at here? We want to write this variable. I'll go a little bit. I'll make one from scratch here in about 2 seconds. But we have these 2 variables. These are the 2 that are written into the animation graph. One is target position and one is blend weight. The blend weight is a simple float value. See, it's a 1. So let me hit play. He's waving and he's looking over at this cube, and let's adjust the blend weight. So I can see now his head is either fully looking at the cube or half looking at the cube based on my blend weight. So all these variables and parameters are live updating. You can adjust them right in here and kind of see what your results are.
That's awesome. So a few people are very excited posting about this now. One question, can this be controlled through devices like Live Link or a mocap suit?
Well, we'd have to define controlled. Can the input be brought in? If you made an extension that brought in like the input from the skeletal mesh as a pose, for instance, then yes. If you looked at let's go to animation graph. All right, we have this pose input, right? So if right now this pose is generated by an animation source, which is the skeleanim. So if you had which we don't have right now, but if someone had like an Extend Suit plugin, for instance, that streamed it in directly, you could put that pose into this position.
Okay, cool. And someone else is asking, how do you work with AIAC in this? Can I import animations into AIAC?
So I'm not a perfect expert on AIAC, but I will give my best answer I can. Sorry, AIAC team, if I get anything
That's
wrong.
all we ask.
So AIAC is built on Kit as well, right? So it's got OmniGraph, Action Graph, Animation Graph in there as well. So any of these graphs that you've set up should be able to be used in AIAC as well. We do have some recorders, so we have an animation recorder, but I think your best bet is going to be what I said before. Use the graph and use it that way. We do have on our horizon, a strong desire, both from internally and I just heard it from you guys, to be able to like record these simulations holistically. So it's on our roadmap. We're really excited to be able to do that in the future. We're hoping that if you set up all these things and you wanted to lock it into place, I would just go boop and I would record the whole thing and I'd be able to use it everywhere. We're not quite there yet, but we're on our way.
Cool. All right, and then one more question. Is there any way to store economy render mode for the renderer in the layout?
Economy render. I'm guessing that is, let me go to render settings. Talking about eco mode here would be my guess. This actually saves into the USD stage setting, since it is a render setting. If that's what we're talking about, then yeah, that just saves in there. You can do settings templates right here. So if I set up my rendering all how I wanted to, I could save them and I could load them. I personally, the UX of this particular section, I don't like it. We're working on making this better. What I would like to do is be able to have a bunch of presets and say like, okay, I've tweaked my settings to Dane's favorite setting, and I just like a drop down and go to it. So I'm really hoping we can overhaul this section right here a little bit better in future versions of Create. I use this thing every day, so I could probably complain about it 50 times worse than anybody. That means I know how to fix it. Yeah, while we're doing it, here's just another example. And this is a character following a path, right? So again, we've kind of generated these path points. This is a variable that exists in Action Graph. So we've kind of set up these path points before, and now he'll just follow it. Right, so this is kind of some of the real big powerful things about Animation Graph. And I'm doing a huge disservice to all the stuff you can do with Animation Graph, don't worry. I really feel like we could go for hours on this topic, and we should. Again, another subtle hint to Edmar. This would be a good additional live stream. Get the Animation Graph team on here.
Oh yeah.
Just add it to the list.
And something I showed in the Machinima live stream, which is also available in Create and is part of Animation Graph, is retargeting, right? So one of the coolest things that's kind of come of the whole Animation Graph initiative is we have a really strong retargeting solution inside. It's actually right here. And if we go to our character root, we can see it's very simple. Generally, you only have to it'll do it automatically. That one right there, auto setup, successfully added retargeting setup for this character. I didn't have to do anything except for click the drop down, and now I have a retargeting solution for this character. So if I had animations from a different skeletal mesh source, or I had a completely different character driving the animation and I wanted it to be played instead on this character, before that was a lot of times that's actually fairly difficult. You have to match up bone names, and it's a good bit of work. The Animation Graph team has made a phenomenal real-time animation retargeter. So we showed some of that, like I said, in the Machinima live stream and in some of the Machinima tutorials. So definitely looking into the animation retargeting. Okay, I'll try to keep it as brief as I could on Animation Graph because, like I said, we've got a lot of cool stuff still to show. I did want to show. I'll try to very briefly show some examples of what you can do in Action Graph. So bear with me while I do this. Actually, we have a pretty good tutorial in the documentations on, I believe it's a car configurator, so definitely check that out. But let me try something real quick. So we're going to let's see if it's generic graph. Give me 1 second to pull this up. I'm going to see if I can get to the. If not, I'm going to move on to something else until I can remember what I was doing. Okay. Do it live, everybody. Okay, so I wanted to show. Actually, I do have an example. I'm going to pull up the example first, and then we're going to do something. We're going to do something straight. So let's go to my default layout, and I have an old scene here. Yep, shake. So what I wanted to kind of do generically, I was like, oh, let me try out Action Graph, see if this works. Is I had this shot, and I just had a camera, just following this plane as it went along. So let me go to the animation layout and kind of show, it's a very generic, planes flying by, and I wanted it to be a little more interested, so I wanted to add a camera shake. And you can actually see, well, we'll see how good this is on the live stream, but there's a little bit of shake here. And actually, I made a custom variable where I can really make it shake. There we go. So all I had to do was, anybody sick yet? On the camera, is I just wanted a 3 quick keyframe shot, right? Well, with Action Graph, I was able to add motion on top. So as you can see, now I added this kind of crazy shaky cam as it went by, and I was able to do that all in Action Graph. And let me just show you real quick what that looks like. All right, so this is my simple Action Graph. I was able to, we have these ability to read attributes from prims, and you do that simply by, if I got the shake stuff, for instance, I drag it in, and I can read an attribute. So I'll drag and drop. I click on it. I'm able to pick what attribute I want to use, which I made a new attribute called shake. If anybody's never made a new attribute in USD, it's this big add button, add attribute. And now any Xform mesh property, you can actually add your own custom attributes. It's not locked in. Nothing's locked in with USD in this regard. And then you like I said, you drag and drop. So what I did was I had an XShake attribute and an XShake modifier. So I animated a shake. Is that, I don't know if you saw that on the curve editor. So I just animated a shake by hand. And my modifier, it basically takes in that XShape attribute. So that's what's on the curve editor. I put it into a multiply by my modifier, so I could easily, make it a little more shaky, a little less shaky. I could actually animate that modifier as the plane got closer to if I wanted, and all this. And then the other big component was I took my camera, which was right here, and I dragged it in. I read the attribute for the camera. I said, hey, I just want to modify the rotation XYZ. I broke that, so I can actually say, hey, break 3 vector. You can see here, so I broke it into 3 vectors, X, Y, and Z. And I only wanted to modify 2 of the parameters. I only wanted to modify Y and Z. And you're able to kind of really easy do that. You see that the X goes right back into a make 3 vector. The Y goes into an add, so I'm adding my shake to Y. The Z goes into an add and modifies Z. And then I put it all back together and I write it back to the camera. So I took the camera animation in, I messed a bunch with its numbers, and then I sent it back out again, and now I have a camera shake. So this is kind of, like I said, it's all visual, it's all drag and drop. You can hit tab here for quick search, and you'll get all of your different constants and all the things that you need. So if I want to do, break vector, free vector, it's right there. I click it, and there's my node that I just made. So all this stuff is try to be as intuitive as possible. We're really looking for a lot of feedback on Action Graph because we know there's a ton of different ways you're going to use it out there in the wild. But that's our
Where's
node
the best
base.
place to put feedback for Action Graph on this? Is there a subforum for it?
I don't think we have one
I don't
yet.
think there is a
I
subforum.
wonder, do we need a channel on Discord in the forums for it?
I think it would be
Or should-
useful for just a general visual scripting,
Yeah.
Forum or Discord channel. We've got a lot of people internally starting to use this for a lot of things. So it's going to keep getting better and better. We're building more nodes, you have, and if anything, and this is why I told you everything today was going to be a little abbreviated because I can't go too deep on everything. But we also have the ability for like a script node, which I know some of our more savvy users will be able to do whatever they want because you can sit here and write in, custom Python code and execute it from Action Graph. So you get the best of both worlds, right? You can do visual scripting for stuff like, let's look at the inputs. So on mouse input, on gamepad input, on keyboard input, right? So I can drag it on keyboard input. I can say, hey, when I press the A button, do something, right? So it's pressed, and now I've fired off a Python script. So
Great. And Twin Snakes just found we do have a channel for OmniGraph under the developer category on the Discord channel. So
perfect.
if you go to the Omniverse Discord server, it's really easy, discord.gg/NVIDIA Omniverse. We have a few categories. One is specifically for developers, where there are channels that developers would be most interested in, obviously. One's about developing extensions and Warp. There's one called OmniGraph. So definitely feel free to post there. We actually, just on Discord for a second, we have a new thing we're doing where we started a channel for live streams so that people can ask questions of an upcoming live stream if they can't make it. So I told people, Dane, that you're coming today, and David said he couldn't make it, but he wanted to squeeze his question in, and he'll watch it later on the replay on Twitch or YouTube. He's saying, okay, USD does not seem to recognize motions that are not assigned to mesh. I tried this in Blender Connector and Maya. Is there any way for Omniverse to accept motion data that does not have mesh?
So that sounds like a Blender specific problem. Motion data can be applied to directly to X forms, all sorts of things. So no, it doesn't have to have specifically a mesh. For example, if I just have this X form right here and I pull out my timeline, I'm able to easily, let me move it real quick, add another key, and we should be able to see the X form animating. Yeah, there we go. So it doesn't have to be mesh type. That might be a specific Blender problem for Blender USD export, and I'll take it to the Blender team.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did actually bring it up. I just talked to the Blender team about that specifically, and that is one of their primary things they're developing right now. So.
Oh, nice. There you go, David.
So let's talk about another cool feature while we're here. We added some soft body support, some really nice real-time soft body support into this release, and this one's just eye candy because I like physics. And let me show you how to set that up real quick. So I can just take a sphere, path tracing, make it a little better. Let's just do this real fast. These 3 spheres. So to add physics properties to things, most of them exist under the add button. So I have physics, and I want these to be colliders, right? So these 2, I want these balls to bounce off of. And then what I can do is I can go add physics deformable body, which is super fun. And I'm going to drop them, and they're not going to look very bouncy. And you're like, what? Why did you tease me? Where are my soft bodies? Oh, I also actually should put them in a place where they bounce correctly. But you might have seen, like I said, the stream. I never know. You might have seen they kind of jiggled a little bit. But I want to show you how to make these more jiggly. We can go under Create, Physics, physics material, and deformable body material. So what I can do is I can select these 3 meshes, scroll all the way to the bottom, apply the physics material, and then try to become apparently a scientist and understand what Young's modulus is. But all I can tell you is I make the big number, it doesn't get jiggly. I make the number small, it gets jiggly. There we go. And now I've got, oh, that's so fun.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I could either make jokes or all sorts of stuff all day out of these jigglies. Oh, yep. And I mean, this is the coolest thing about this, about like having such a high-end path tracer like this, how this matte rendering option, it's just so cool. It's all real-time path tracing. It's insane.
Crazy.
So that's our physics soft body stuff. I'm sure people can have some fun with that. All right, what's next on the list? I think I want to talk quickly about primvar support. Yay, primvar support. What the heck's a primvar? Let me pull up a tutorial and show you. So something we added to this version of Create is, on your mesh, and I'm gonna say this in the the most basic way. On your mesh, you have the ability to write like attributes to vertices. This is pretty common, like vertex colors, display colors. This mesh has already been set up with vertex colors. So this is in the display color channel for this mesh. And so what could I do with that? What if I paint, this vertex color thing like this? Well, then you can do things like, let me pull this example material on there. Let me see if that's the one. So now I can say, hey, this color is, wet mud. This color is, dry sand. So this is kind of what you get from adding that primvar support. How you set that up. There's a whole tutorial out on this, and there's a sample file and everything. Is if you haven't checked out the MDL material graph editor, you pull that open, and what look was that? I said it was example material, right? So I click on that and import some selection. I can do material graphs. Like I said, this is like the release of the graphs. They just came in from everywhere. But what I can do is in this data lookup for that mesh, right, I can say, hey, this display color input, which when I had the asset set to no material. Oh, no, I need to go up a level. To none. Give it a second. This is the data, right? So this is in display color. So now I've got this display color in my material graph right here. I'm able to say, hey, for the X color, multiply that by either between soil or sand. And then, hey, for every color in Z, I say multiply by 1. So realistically, whoever made this tutorial should have just done this. Gosh, wasting everybody's time. So Z is going to be a blend between the water shader and that blended soil and sand shader. So, now we kind of have these kind of like standard material graphs that you can work from. I don't know what I did there. That was fun. But that's kind of what we get out of the primvar support. So let's open a new stage. Start fresh. All right, we might be testing that 17-second load time here in a second. So give me a second. I'm going to restream that. Looks like I broke it. Hey, I got another release coming. I got a few more bugs.
By the way, Eric Graft wrote, "Graph editors make everyone's life better." Probably very true.
I completely agree. And that's why kind of internally we were all pushing pretty hard for hey, let's do as many visual scripting graphs and stuff like that as we can. Where is that stream button? Now I got to relearn my. There we go.
Relearn Discord.
Relearn Discord. Go live. Yeah, thank goodness that takes 17 seconds now instead of 50 whatever it was before. um, all right, so but that's kind of generically prim bar support, like brand new feature. As you saw, it has a bug in it that I'm gonna have to fix after this meeting or after this live stream. Let me see what other features I want to go over with you. So that was actually a lot of the high level features that were kind of most important right off the bat that I wanted to show. A lot of the other features are returning features that either have been improved or have a little bit better bug fixes in them and stuff like that. I didn't show the templates. These are brand new and we're kind of working on making these better and better. But I might as well show you how they work real fast. The templates, which again I said we're gonna keep doing our best to make them better and better. It's kind of a nice way to view your asset quickly. So if I go here, and I've got this decor wood, it'll actually give you a camera in position in kind of a nice pre-lit stage. So if I wanted to, let me turn my grid off. So if I had some asset that was nice, like a shoe or some sort of asset I'm looking at too, I want to give you something that's kind of well lit and good to go right off the bat. And that's the same for, we've got like a display pedestal, and you can just very quickly kind of look at those things.
It's awesome. We actually, regarding assets, Terry's asking, is it possible to create your own asset library so I could have assets I use often easily at hand?
That's a great question. So these browsers that we have, they're actually configurable. So right now, these are the in this NVIDIA asset browser, for instance, these are the 4 ones we ship with, but I can also hit add collection, find some location that I want, and I can add it, and it'll now add to the dropdown, and that'll save in your user preferences, so that'll be there forever. Kind of the other way to do it is we also have the bookmark feature. If you're not familiar with that, let's say it's Blender test, I can actually add it as a bookmark, and now that's always kind of right there. Those are kind of our 2 quick ways to get to things.
Cool. And Thomas also noted that you can import it into Create and save it out as a single object USD.
Yeah, you could do that too. I know some of our artists in the past, like they have some materials that they're really used to using or really like to using. They save that as a custom USD and they drag and drop it as a reference, and then they're always able to apply it to their stage. And then if they want to change that material for like all their scenes, they just open that referenced set of materials, right? So now this is their master materials, and I can tweak it a little, and then all my stages are now tweaked. There's a lot of intricacies to setting up a USD workflow. We have some ways that some of our people internally set up their stages and their hierarchy, and I do think it's an area of education that here at NVIDIA we could do better and show, hey, this is how we do it, right? And then you can likewise tell us how you do it to be effective.
So what's on the roadmap that you can share? So now you just push this big update. What can you, as a secret to the watchers?
So we will have another update based on 2022.1 at a minimum, where we're going to continue to bug fix. We want to make this release stable, right? We know that people want to do real work, and we want to support you in that. And if you have an unstable environment, how are you going to get anything done, right? So that's my primary goal for the next release: increase stability, increase performance. So we won't be adding much in the way of features between here and there. Then we did add back a feature in this particular release, which was we did add. Did I not show you guys the extension browser? Gee, it's like one of the most basic things I should show everybody. Under window extensions, right? This is not everything is enabled by default. You can actually see we have a lot of these featured extensions. We have a CAD importer that'll bring in all sorts of different CAD formats. Tools like merge meshes. We can merge different meshes together. But we also have we added back in tablet. So if you have at this stage, if you have an Apple tablet, anything like that. You can go in the App Store, grab the Omniverse XR remote application, and you'll be able to stream your screen to your tablet, which is pretty fun, because then I can sit there and look around at my object in that kind of space. Now, at the same time, if you didn't notice that, you could also go look at your stuff in VR with the new Omniverse XR release. Fancy. So
pretty crazy.
there is one feature that I'm going to try to get back as soon as I can. I've gotten hounded on this by a few people in the forums, but we with the new animation stuff, you may have noticed something called Keyframer went away. Right. Because we added in the curve editor and the timeline. We're like, yeah, these are super cool. And then someone's like, where did that nice button go that focuses my camera? I'm sorry. That was my bad. That was 100% my bad. We're gonna try to bring that back out for the next release. I'm definitely gonna bring it back for the next release of Machinima. We're gonna try to bring an option back to do your nice focus for the next release of Create. As for the Create after this, some of the things we're focusing on, again, I can't stop stressing we're going to continue to focus on performance and stability. We really feel like with this feature release of 103, like, man, we've put out some cool stuff. Let's make it rock solid, right? So action graph and animation graph are going to get better and better. They're going to get more nodes, more tutorials, more abilities to work properly in your environment. All those new features that we just kind of talked about, that prim bar support should get better and better. I didn't show this feature yet because we're still kind of in process, but we do have the ability to draw curves in Create now with this latest release. We just want to do a lot better job with it in the 2022.2 release. What are some other big features I can talk about? It's always tricky because I'm like, what can I say? What can I not say? One big thing that we will be changing some of the underlying technology for how we do live syncing between this release and the next. We've been working on a underlying feature we call Omni Objects, which is really important to actually the Connect team, because it's going to allow us to start doing things with tools that have native USD integrations. And that will actually change a little bit how live sync will work. Live sync will get a little bit faster, and it'll get a little bit more effective. That's going to be a big change for the entire Omniverse ecosystem for the next release. But besides that, I don't know. Community, you tell me. You tell me what you want for the next release. I'm all ears right now. So this is actually this is the perfect time. We're doing a lot of planning. We've actually been working on the underlying kit, which is Kit 104, for the next release. One of the cool things is which you'll notice is the viewport. We'll probably start teasing this sooner than later. We're adding a lot of cool viewport controls, like be able to see your FOV and all that stuff like directly in the viewport and adjust it right there in the viewport, instead of like, well, right now I've got a camera and I got to go over here and scroll. Like, that's no fun. We want it right there in the viewport. So that's one of the big features we'll be putting in 2022.2. But I'm all ears, right? Like like I said, we've got some development time left. If there's something that's really, hey, I need this to be effective, go tell Edmar and Wendy.
Yeah, put it in the Create forum, either on the official forums or in the Discord channel for Create, and we will pass it off to Dane and team right away. But yeah, that's a great way to get your features in. So the more people request something, what we need in the future, we need a way for people to upvote.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to work on that actually.
Really?
A way to like have features that people ask for, and then people can just upvote, and then we can see okay, this is the top one.
Yeah. You can kind of do it, I guess, because people will vote on people's posts, and you can use emojis and stuff. But
yeah,
it'd be cool to have a good system to see kind of all the feature requests, and we can see what bubbles to the top. We've talked about it a couple times, so we need to do that. But that's so anyway. For now, put it in the Create forum or the Create channel on Discord. And actually, Pekka jumped in. Hey, Pekka. Pekka's asking if you can talk a little bit about constrained features.
So the constraints that you see in something like Machinima are not currently available in Create. I don't know when I'm going to be putting them into the roadmap. The reason they're not in Create right now is we kind of use Machinima as a proving ground, for lack of a better term, of animation features, right? It's kind of cutting edge and we kind of expect that, as we try things in Machinima, we might find they're good or bad, etc., and then we change, right? And Create, we want a little bit more stability, so that's why those kind of filter down. We have a bunch of different applications in the Omniverse ecosystem, and since it is an ecosystem, things feed into each other. So while those constraints are not in Machinima right now, or not in Create right now, and they're only in Machinima, if you're very enterprising, I know you can figure out how to get them to work with Create. Just saying.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's all the same underpinnings. But yeah, I'm personally really keen on the constraint story because, for instance, in Machinima right now, I now use an aim target for all my camera animations because it's just so much easier. So nothing yet. How about that? Coming soon.
But actually, while you talked about the ecosystem and Machinima, so we have an awesome contest ongoing right now with Machinima. Dan, you've talked about it before here. Yep. So where are we at with the contest actually? So we're at kind of the first stage, right? It's very early on. People have plenty of time to submit an entry for the Machinima contest. Do you want to talk a little bit about it? What the contest is?
Yeah. So in the Machinima contest, what do we call it? Was it
I think it was Machinima contest.
Make or just Machinima contest? All right.
Let me look actually.
Real creative with the name. But it's one of the cool things about Machinima is you get a bunch of content from the developers, and you can use the whole ecosystem. Audio to face, Create, all the pose estimation tool for animation, and we really just want to see what you can do. The difference between the previous contest we had with Create, which was a more static image, this is a video. We want some sort of fun cinematic video that you've made in Machinima using some of this content from our partners, and those partners are game developers, right? So it's Bannerlord, Squad. We actually have a couple more. Mech Warrior is in there now too, and we have a few more games being announced soon that you can also add into your contest. It's going pretty long. I think it's going till July or August. Is that right? When's the end date on that?
Let me see. I think it closes June 27th.
Yeah.
June 27th. Okay.
So plenty of time.
Yeah, it's still another 2 months.
And we had a user clarify on Discord the other day if they could use Fallout 4 assets, because apparently Bethesda lets the fans use their assets, as long as you're not using it for commercial purposes. So we got the thumbs up that you can use those assets. So that's pretty cool. Yeah,
no, Bethesda's always been pretty cool about. I mean, they're kind of built on the mod community, right?
Yeah.
So they've always been pretty cool about that, and Machinima has its roots in modding as well, deeply rooted in modding. Which was really cool. Was the kickoff video for the Machinima contest was from Red vs. Blue creators, Rooster Teeth. Which I remember the first Red vs. Blue video I saw in like college or something. I was like, this is hilarious, and I'm so glad this is a medium that we can now watch.
Very cool. It's hilarious. Yeah, that video is up on the Machinima contest page. So if you do a search for Omniverse Machinima contest, you'll come up right away. But I also post a link in the chats if anyone wants to check it out. Plenty of time. We would love it if people go out on a limb and share your progress as you're doing your submission, because we really want to see how people's submissions are coming along. And just tag it with Made in Machinima hashtag, and so others can kind of share and rejoice. We also have a showcase channel on our forums and our Discord, so you can post your stuff there for feedback. But we're super excited to see what the community does. I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, I can't wait.
I haven't seen anything yet, but I think a couple people teased that they might start showing something within a couple weeks. So very excited about that. All right. Yeah. Well, we are at the hour mark. Wendy, congratulations. You have we have mastered the art of starting on time.
Oh my gosh! Great. 2 times in a row, guys.
Nice.
Started on time.
Dave, is there anything we missed, or anything that you want to leave people with?
I know there was like 5,000 other things I did not cover in this call. So I guess what I really call, what am I saying? I didn't call anybody. I'm on a Twitch stream. Clearly I've been in too many meetings. there's a wealth of new features and exciting things that you can do in Create right now. We're just scraping the surface with this call. One thing that is really important to me is, myself, the head of Omniverse, Rev, we're always scraping the forums and scraping Discord. Your feedback is seen, right? Like whenever you post something in there, especially if I see something that's, a bunch of people are trying to do this and they're just not getting it. Like that goes two places instantly in my brain. One, I go to our user experience team and say, hey, this isn't easy. Look at these people struggling. Let's make it better for the next release. And the other way is we need some workflow tutorials to show people how to do this. So your feedback on the forums, on Discord, etc., it's incredibly valuable. So I appreciate it more than almost any other thing I get in my day-to-day job. So
Awesome.
I want to thank all those people that have done that. Right away with 2022.1.0, I think we had a issue with thumbnail generation, and 3 or 4 people right away in the forums. They even tracked down what the bug was for us, and that was our hotfix release. So big shout out to those in the forums that made that happen for us. It's just great. Really appreciate it.
That's awesome. We have a really wonderful community. So definitely echo that. One last question, if we could squeeze it in, because it is from our ambassador. Pekka is asking, actually on behalf of someone else that he noticed had asked on the forums, collider actions, like sparks when objects collide. How would that work in Create?
So I will have to go back and see if we have that yet. But the most common thing I would think would be an action graph. So you would need a collision notification and action graph, and then from that collision notification, you would fire off a particle system. If that doesn't work right now, let's put it as feature request.
Collision events are not yet available, but I did just submit a request for that from the team.
Perfect.
So
yeah, that sounds like
talking
a great
with
feature.
Michelle about it actually just a few minutes ago. So.
And Wendy, this is for you. Somebody is asking if it's possible to hold a contest where the prize would be your background, your house.
I'll come over and we'll get some paint and
Steal your house. All right, here we go.
I'll just take the wall off of here and just mail it over.
So thank you so much, Dane. Really awesome to always have you on here. Next week we'll have Jay on. Super helpful. Thank you, community, for asking so many great questions. This was really a lot of fun. And Wendy, thank you for your awesome work handling all the engineering and the hosting at the same time. So really appreciate that. So next week on Wednesday, Wendy and I will be joined with Jay Salina, or AKA JS Films. So check out his YouTube channel. He's actually one of the judges in the Machinima contest. We're probably going to talk a little bit about Machinima next week as well. But he's going to show us his workflow of using motion capture with iClone and Omniverse. So if you're an aspiring filmmaker and you want to learn how to use Omniverse for that, I think it's going to be a great tutorial and great opportunity also to ask questions of Jay. If you haven't checked out his channel, he's got a lot of great videos on Omniverse. He's an avid user of Unreal as well. Really fantastic. Anyway, so thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks,
Until next
everyone.
time.
Yep, we'll talk to you guys.